One of them late night shows, man, that was bang. My man Ben Eaton came through, man. Big up the Ben Eaton, man. He came through, proving that he had understanding and said subject. He went into that biblical knowledge, man. New York Regie was up to it and jumped in the fray. This is a good back and forth right here, man. This one of them specials, one of them Bobby Banger, Brother Ankh specials, man. So let's get right into it, man. Big up to those who continue to fight to educate the people, man.
Egyptian influence on Israel and Judah was particularly strong in the reign of Hezekiah during Egypt's third intermediate period. As a result, Hebrew literature is permeated with concepts and figures derived from the didactic treatise of Egypt, with Amenemope often cited as the foremost example. You were wrong, bro.
I don't think you understand what
it's not an argument against. That's not his argument, bro.
I don't think he's already.
He's in the lead. It was the foremost example.
I got you. You got it off of Wiki. You got it off of Wiki. I can show you. I have the book. I can show you every scholar that you just posted. It's from Wiki.
You try to be slick, but
bro,
I'm saying you don't understand what that is saying.
I studied the Bible more than you. So I know.
You don't
listen. I don't want to do a. I don't want to do more.
Just be crazy.
It's fine.
I know, yo.
It's fine. I don't want to do more.
Hey, Ben Eaton, hold on for 1 minute. Remember when I said niggas don't know when they're around killers? See, they don't know what they listening for. Now I'm sitting here listening. I done heard the young niggas presentation. I done heard what I think I understand. Nigga, I done heard what you said in the last motherfucking 20 minutes. And I'm betting, did you read more of that shit than anybody on this panel? If it was up to me, I would shut the fuck up and keep listening to what the fuck you saying. See, I know when the nigga got something.
What?
You know what I mean?
What, you listen to a person and say when they got something?
Oh, no, I'm saying,
right?
I got a lot of motherfucking scholarly material. This nigga start talking about scholars that I ain't heard niggas talk. I had to read Bible archaeology fucking website and niggas even them.
Okay.
Nigga, I'm saying this nigga read more just Reggie, go ahead. Sword fight. I'm gonna sit back. Hey,
Eaton, go in.
Let the nigga do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So
I'm gonna put my money on Ben. Go ahead, Reg.
Yeah, and then you got to discuss too why borrowing is not plagiarism, because people can
exactly
borrowing with plagiarism. That's key. Just because somebody borrows something doesn't mean it's plagiarism.
Exactly.
Right.
I wasn't arguing
I'm not talking about you, Reggie. I'm not talking about you, Reggie.
I was arguing.
I'm not talking about you, Reggie. I'm just talking. You know what I mean?
Right. So what was those two words, Reggie, that you had brought out? The Greek words. So I can take those notes and put those in my notes.
Have to. You know what? I'm gonna send you my email, and so we could talk further about law and stuff like that.
Definitely.
All right. So it's reggiemabry@gmail.com. Okay.
Wait, say it again. Regie.
No, I put it in the chat. Oh,
okay, cool.
I can't because Ankh hasn't made me. I'm pseudo, so he's not made me a. So it's Reggie.
Okay.
I can send it to him, Reggie. I got him on Facebook. Send it to him right now.
Reggie Marbury, right?
.mabry.
.mabry.
I'm sending it to you, man.
Okay. So, okay. So we could just go through a little bit. Uncle's gonna complain, right?
No, I'm not. No.
At Gmail.
No, I'm sending it to you. Right
okay. Cool. My bad. Go ahead.
Ben got you. Ben Eaton got you. I'm gonna tab out and I'm listening to y'all. I feel like at this point, I think that should better not do.
No, so what I would ask the brother Ben is, I heard he say he does make an argument for plagiarism, but I'm kind of figuring it's more towards the Noah flood story. If that's the case, what I would say is this: I definitely believe it's a shared culture that they all derive from, and then we have different outlooks on the story. Scholarly speaking, when I say outlook, because I believe that the biblical narrative is the true outlook, but scholarly speaking, or rather speaking as far as the evidence, I believe that it comes from a shared source, and in that case, you can't have no claim of plagiarism. So,
I agree, Gideon. I don't make the case for plagiarism in any part of the biblical text. And I think that's where the issue lies, because they don't have a foundational premise towards their study. You kind of got to start from scratch right here, because you're talking about a culture that exists and that originated within West Semitic culture. I'll talk previously about the term ethnogenesis. Well, there's an Israelite ethnogenesis, and the consensus amongst scholars, whether it's Finkelstein, whether it's William G. Dever, whether it's Kathleen Kitchen, that ancient Israel, the more organic portion of Israel, wherever they may derive from West Semitic peoples, organically originated within Canaan, amongst the people, possibly due to the Bronze Age collapse, where you have so much going on. There's a YouTube video about the Bronze Age collapse, and what's so important about what they talk about within that documentary is that how they use our modern sciences to help us understand how the possible outcomes or the possible mechanism that caused the collapse. And one thing I want people to know about ancient Israel, and I want to help people understand that I understand ancient Israel purely academically, and I want people to understand it purely academically, so we can remove ourselves from the nonsense of identifying the text as this historical text, as this divine text, and make it more humanistic and study it like we study Herodotus, like Reggie was saying, and but that's all I want to say.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions.
Ready.
Put your screenshot up.
Okay, so I'm trying to
video. Hold on, in the sound of the video, the young brother God, what's his name? God
Energy.
God Energy said that the Egyptians collapsed, and the Egyptians did not collapse during the Bronze Age collapse.
Right.
They did have some problems with issues, but they actually defeated the Sea People. The Hittites did not defeat the Sea People. They lost. They should collapse. It was done.
Indeed, yeah.
It actually caused a lot of trade to be very dysfunctional. That's what happened. It fucked up the trade. And these Sea People bought them slave cities when they really started slaving people to work in the cities and shit like that. That comes with the Sea People. So he got that part wrong. I'm not nitpicking. I'm saying when you have these conversations, it requires you to have accuracy in everything you say.
Yes,
Go ahead.
And just speaking on a general surface level, and the Bible, how I perceive it, it speaks to all of those things, because when we look at the Sea Peoples, I think it's the book of Hosea, It speaks of how the Captorine took over the Philistine took over the Captorine, and we understand that the Captorine were the Mycene people, and the Philistine come from Mycene. And the Bible, you know, when you're looking at it like, you know, the brother Ben said, I'm not speaking for him. When you just look at it as a purely academic history of a people that's not a worldwide history, but it's the history of a certain people, we see how certain things line up, or at least I do, you know. So it's interesting that, you know, we were speaking of that. You know, we definitely come like an ethnogenesis out of Egypt, you know. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, that's fine.
You said, hold on, it's called the Bronze Age collapse. Ain't no Hebrews at the Bronze Age writing shit.
No, sir.
No, exactly. And that's the good thing you say, because a thing that attests to the Bronze Age collapse is the Amarna letters that preceded it. And it speaks of the Hyberu, you know, attacking certain installations in Canaan land. But what we do see at the peak, according to the biblical narrative, at the peak of Israelite hegemony, meaning the United Kingdom of Israel, 1000 BC, we do see a brief, quote unquote, dark ages, not only in Egypt, but in the Levant, where it's the powers that were, they collapsed for that time. So we do see that. That's another thing that matches with the biblical narrative.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone who wants to, you know, make sure you can look at the Amarna tablets.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple quick questions. Yeah, a couple quick questions, right? Do we have any surviving text of any Proto-Sinaitic or Proto-Hebrew that lines up that lines up with Proverbs?
You said two different things.
Proto-Sinaitic text, right?
And then you said Proto-Hebrew. Those are two different
Proto-Hebrew.
Those are two different things.
I know they do different, but one is Canaanite, right? And one is
no, Reggie. There is no Proto-Hebrew. We attribute that throughout historiographic methods.
Okay, so you don't have it.
We apply that term. That's what I'm saying. I'm just like.
All right, so
make your point, Reggie.
Yeah, I made my point. There's no surviving Proto-Hebrew, Proto-Sinaitic that lines up with in their own tradition. So then where does it come? Does it come after?
You don't get a complete text until around 300 BC, Reggie.
That's right. That's okay. That's fine.
A complete text. You would be crazy to assume that these traditions don't go further back.
Okay. No. But you don't have any evidence of that. You're saying
what would you accept as evidence, Reggie?
Just lines. Yes. Like, for example, you can look at the laws, right? The laws, and you could go back to the how can I say, the Sumerian, the Ugarit, right? You could go to a number of different laws that were in that time period that belonged to other people, right? So
I wouldn't say they belong to other people. There's just it's universal. These laws are universal.
No.
People don't want to be killed, so you make a law that say don't kill.
No, they're actually written. They're not universal. They have a start date. They have actually a genealogy, right? So the genealogy of a lot of things of the Bible come from the Ugaritic, those major books like Gilgamesh, right? And scripts and sayings that are attested writing. I asked you for attested writing. You don't have any. So my question is, you say that the Bible was, you have a complete text. Can you show me a complete text of the Torah or the Tanakh? Right?
Well, you're asking a loaded question. We really don't like.
No, I'm not talking to you, Gideon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not talking. I'm talking
like you're an Israelite. That's crazy. I don't even understand what's happening right now.
Right. So you don't have anything.
There is no complete text until much later.
Okay. The complete text.
Because you have a complete text, and then you have an Orthodox text. They are two different things.
Oh, do you? So, what is the earliest date of the written text or an Orthodox text of the Torah and the Tanakh?
Of the Torah,
yeah,
is the Pentateuch, first seen in the Septuagint.
Okay, so
we identified that there was a Septuagint is through the history is through the history that we have from our Greek authors. We, as scholars do, they can compile all of these sources to conclude what this text was likely, where it was, how it was developed. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of likelies. No matter what you're talking about in history, there's a lot of guessing, hypotheses.
No, I got that. We're dealing with possibilities, but I'm asking for evidence.
Yeah,
that's why I asked,
make your overall arching point,
accept, Reggie, because I don't. What evidence would you accept? Because
make your overall arching point, Reggie. Like, because you're showing me all these slides. I'm getting damn dizzy flipping up the screen.
No. My how can I say? So Roger Black is received this his PhD on this particular dissertation, which has to do with Amenope and the Bible. And
so while you're looking for it, Reggie, I just want to say that again. It's all wisdom text. We even can see in the writings. No, that's what I'm saying. We can even see in the writings. Hold on, Reggie. I just want to say this. We can even see in the writings of Josephus where he even mentions an incident where Solomon was having rather a philosophical discussion. I think it was with the king of Tyre, and his sayings were so wiser than Solomon's at that time. He took that and used it for himself. It's actually documented. So being wise, it isn't exclusive to just Israelites. So that's like I said, that's
unfortunately that's not relevant to this direct conversation. You can't prove
Solomon. Very relevant, because that's the only instance where we see any comparison to any type of claim of plagiarism is in these wisdom texts.
Solomon, so why are you talking to me?
But see, that's another point you're trying to have somebody prove.
Why are you talking
to me? Stay focused. And that's the problem with the conscious community.
You're not showing
a lot of time, because you're letting your bias throw methodology out the window and just come to a conclusion by you moving the goalposts 8 times and not sticking to a certain.
Moving the goalposts.
Yeah, Reggie, just show what you're trying to show on the screen.
Well, I mean, I got this guy always cutting in with no evidence whatsoever. So what we will do is,
I just cited Josephus.
That's a good slide,
Reggie. It don't do nothing with the it doesn't do anything with the Proverbs and Amenope.
No, Josephus talking about a tradition that he's hearing, and he's writing it down. That's what he's saying.
Say that again, brother. Good brother, who I'm talking to. Say that
Josephus again. Is writing about a tradition.
Yeah,
but the tradition is what he was talking about. That's all I was trying.
Right, but is that really good, brother? What's your name?
Ben.
Beth.
Ben.
Ben. Pleasure, yes. Ben.
Yes,
okay. To the conversation that we was having, is that relevant?
I think so. I think it was relevant. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just
now, can I say why I think it's relevant, Reggie?
No, because the slide he got on the screen, man. We were stuck on the.
Okay. All right. So I think 295 is where I really want to go. But what I am going to do is in this short presentation. Summarize it.
What are you trying? Just can you give me a premise? What's the premise?
Okay, so the premise is this scholar Roger Black analyzes the Amenope with Proverbs, and in this conversation he talks about borrowing, right? So he's going to use the word borrowing, and so within here, I will get to the point where he actually makes a statement that it was most probably borrowed. And in this 395 or so page dissertation, right? He makes arguments. I'm not going to go through.
I am familiar with Roger with Black, by the way. So I'll let you
finish. Agree that it's borrowed, right?
Okay, no. So Ben, I'm talking to Ben. So Ben,
so this is Black's thesis who gets critiqued by other scholars because there's so many holes in determining making accusations, basically, just assuming accusations. So I'm gonna let Reggie finish.
Okay, so good. You've read it, right? You're familiar with it. It's hard to get, but you got it.
Reggie, finish, man. You just damn pop quiz, bro. Come on now.
No, and so okay, the primary challenge presented by borrowing. So one of the arguments that he makes is talking about being a borrowed foreign vocabulary, right? Was finding a way to represent it adequately in writing, right? So that is I'm just going to go through where he said borrowed, right? Just to get to the point, right? As we shall see, wisdom terminology is not native to Egyptology, right? But was borrowed, right? From biblical studies, along with the host of controversies and methodological issues which do not directly concern the study of Egyptian literature per se. The term "ma" literature also allows us to focus on specifically Egyptian. Okay, so this was what he said was.
Do you know what that means, Reggie?
Yeah, he says what he's saying. What I'm just trying to figure out where he is saying it from, right? Because I only went through borrowing, right, to say to find out what he's saying with borrowing, and so I could be looking at some other commentator, right? So he's saying, okay, so whatever it is saying, these concepts of didactic could not be borrowed from biblical, right? Because this is earlier. This is earlier than the biblical. But Ptah-hotep is earlier than we have any Hebrew writing, right?
That doesn't make the rule, Reggie.
It doesn't make the rule that
just because something is earlier doesn't mean that this comes from that. You get what I'm saying?
Right. So wisdom, but so all he's saying is wisdom is not only in Egyptian, but it's also in what you call biblical studies, which is a wide range of looking at what happens in biblical studies, yes, right? Where those things come from, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let me see. There's no sure reason that the author of Amenhotep has ever seen Mentuhotep's stela, right? Much less than he borrowed it. So he's talking about transmission, right? But I'm gonna get to right. Okay. It says in short, many parallels with Amenhotep left out about which direction the relationship went. The author of Amenhotep could not have borrowed. The author of Amenhotep could not have borrowed from Proverbs. So the editor of Proverbs must have borrowed it from Amenhotep because of some of the things I was saying about. He was saying earlier about loan words, loan vocabulary, grammar. Right, those are the things that he talked about. Right.
Can you finish reading, Reggie? Can you read the paragraph under Ehrman's theory?
Yeah, I am going to. The author Amenhotep could not have been borrowed from Proverbs. I'm getting that. So the editor of Proverbs must have been borrowed from Amenhotep, as one observer later summarized Ehrman's theory. So I guess this is Bar Ehrman. No, not it's not Bar Ehrman. It's another Egypt. So in the Persian period, perhaps one of the Jews who was then living in Egypt became acquainted with the wisdom text of Amenhotep, which was probably used as a school textbook. He made this accessible to his fellow believers by translating it into Hebrew or possibly Aramaic. He substituted Yahweh for God and made such other changes as would make it suitable for the Jews. He left it divided into 30 chapters, but this excellent little book had the misfortune to fall into the hands of collectors of proverbs and sentences who did not go about their work very intelligently. Finally, in a much mutilated form part, it was incorporated into a collection which makes up the third section of our book of Proverbs.
Can I say something, Reggie?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying now? How many assumptions are in that paragraph?
Several assumptions.
Exactly.
Right, but
they have been a Jew may have, or the Jews, this strange group of Jews, may have been equated with the wisdom literature of Amenhotep.
Yes,
you see how many assumptions has to get made first to come to that conclusion that scholars will have to critique, have to review in order to make that conclusion that
I have
this
no
story
problem
comes
with
from
that.
this.
I have no problem with that method. This
And
is just
by the way, this
scholarship.
is a very old this is a very old book from Merriman. And
Okay,
that's why the idea
and
sounds
and watch this. And
because
I
it is a good
accept
idea.
that, and I accept that. What I'm making the case on here on the issue that they're having the conversation of borrowing, right? Right? So
No, I think the biblical text is heavily influenced by Egyptian literature. I just don't agree in the mode of transmission that you're assuming. That's all.
okay, that's fine. Okay,
So I'm saying, like, even if that is the case and it is borrowed, it's in the proverb, which is like, like
this is general, general.
It's called it's the writing is collections of saying.
Yeah,
right?
wisdom text.
Instructional wisdom. So it's not really. It traditionally is assigned to Solomon, but it's not like a sole author. So it's still.
That's fine. I hear that. I'm gonna get to another point, right? So I guess this is not Budge, but this is someone that Budge was talking about. Either way, we must suppose that some of the Old Testament writers borrowed from, or at least were influenced by Amenhotep, or else we must be prepared to acknowledge that Amenhotep was acquainted with some of those Hebrew writings, which later became part of the Old Testament.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be either or. You get what I'm saying, Reggie?
That's fine. You can raise that. I have no problem with you raising it.
Yes, sir.
I have no problem with that. That's scholarship. I accept your method of inquiry up until a particular point, right? So, the next salvo in the dispute was fired in 1929 by Herzog. He quoted Austerley's favorite, but when even further rejecting not only Ehrman's theory that Proverbs borrow from Amenhotep, but is also Oakley's postulation of a common document from which both had been borrowed, right? Citing everyone from Goetz to Ibn Jaz and Herzog maintained that none of the alleged parallels between Proverbs and Amenhotep were compelling, and that all could be explained by recourse of the stock of proverbial sayings and motives that were the common property of human culture. I accept that, right? Okay, this author also dismissed alleged Egyptian influence on the book of Proverbs as insignificant, and certainly less than that of Mesopotamia, on the grounds that if Egyptian influence had been sufficiently strong to impact Proverbs, we should be able to detect it more strongly in many other books of the Hebrew Bible.
Yes,
right.
There you go.
What? But no, wait. I accept that. Right? I accept that. I'm just reading into the record, right? For a conversation. So these are the things that scholars. If I gave you a one-sided approach, it would be easily to not accept it, right? Okay. But so reading into the record, I'm just reading into the record. But it says, starting right here, now it seems that Proverbs could not possibly have borrowed from Amenhotep, right? Wait. But Amenhotep could certainly have borrowed from Proverbs. That's one person that is actually saying. So they're going to go into further conversation, right, about that. And then you would have to do what you would have to do is you have to look at timelines, right? So if I gave you a dissertation that didn't look at both sides, then it would not be a dissertation. You agree with that?
No, I agree, Roger. Yes, sir.
Right. So what he's reading into actually reading into the record was the fact of the matter is, okay, there's didactic information, right? That is in that period. What I'm asking you, right, is to show me any evidence of the didactic information that could have contributed to Proverbs. That's what I'm saying. So the rest of this is a line by line connection of Proverbs. And
I don't know, Reggie, you're asking me to reach into time to search for information we just don't have.
Okay, so
academically, we just
let me ask you this though.
There's a large amount of data we are just missing, and we have to acknowledge.
Let me ask you this though, Ben. Aren't even though you can never be certain, right? You know, because
Yes,
certain realms they work with a certain level of what they would call confidence, right?
Yes, sir.
Are there not certain proverbs that they have that there's a realm of confidence that they would equate to borrowing?
Yeah, maybe. All I'm saying is I'm just addressing the methodology.
Right.
Like I said before, I agree, and I can absolutely show Egyptian influence through lexicology, you know, through just the nature of borrowing because the empire is popular. You know, it's so much to it. I'm just saying that in order to say, you know, something in confidence, we have to go through these methods of critique, you know, as far as to say that, you know, this was stolen from this. And I agree. I'm cool with borrow, you know, or if that's what you want to use, that's cool. I'm cool. But to say plagiarize and stolen,
we're not saying that.
You know, I know I got you. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that. What I'm doing is,
but the methodology is the same.
Yeah, because
in my opinion, Ehrman's approach.
For the people that is not familiar, right, who's never seen a properly done dissertation on a very hard subject, that if you didn't do it right, you wouldn't pass your dissertation. They have to put in the back and forth, right? And so I'm just reading into the record, right? What people have said. The first response to Jordan came from Pierre Montel, whose 1959 book, Egypt and Bible includes 70 passages from Amenhotep. Monet, who was clearly a party to Ehrman's consensus, effectively disposed of Drichen in a single sentence. One cannot read the instruction of Amenhotep without being struck by its authentically Egyptian character, a character that could not possess to the same degree if the author had borrowed from a foreign work, right? So obviously it says what it says. It has an Egyptian character. So now I want to stop. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because what I wanted to do is just read into the record. And so let me stop sharing the screen and just ask thanks for the time, right? Thanks for the time on this. So now we can go into other books, right, to show the very Egyptian character that finds its way into other biblical themes. So I get a whole presentation on BM 604, which is the Setni 1 and Setni 2, well, really Setni 2 of Osiris. Are you familiar with that?
Say it again, Regie. I'm sorry.
Okay. Are you familiar with the story of Setni and his son, Osiris?
No, sir.
Okay.
So Reggie, can I say something real quick to what you're saying? So when I'm like, if a person was to sit up here, what I'm interpreting your article is saying is that that's kind of basic. So when we look at the instruction of Amenhotep, however you pronounce that, that should be like 12th century, 1200 BC. And when we look at the Proverbs, that doesn't come into being literally, or rather orally, until we have the kingdom of Israel. So, like, chronologically speaking, we can't say that the Egyptian writings are taken from the Israelite writings, because that's like putting the cart before the horse. But this is what I'm saying, and what other people who have that kind of say the same thing, or what, you know, people like Ben Eaton, and I don't even know his discipline or whatever. That's what he's trying to say, not exactly how I'm saying it, but I'm gonna read the source that I told you earlier about Solomon. When we look at the Antiquity of the Jews, is book 5. And I said it was Proverbs, but it's basically it's wisdom. So just this is a source. It's 2 sentences. It says, he says also that Solomon, who was then king of Jerusalem, sent riddles to Hiram and desired to receive the like from him, but that he who could not solve them should pay money to them that did not solve them. and that Hiram accepted the conditions. And when he was not able to solve the riddles proposed by Solomon, he paid a great deal of money for his fine. But that he afterward did solve the proposed riddles by means of Absalom, a man of Tyre, and that Hiram proposed other riddles which Solomon could not solve. He paid back a great deal of money to Hiram. This is what which Diaz wrote. So what I'm trying to convey to you, Reggie, is that these type of ideas bounced off nations culturally. That's how they exchange, transmit, and they, you know, that was just the pool that they had amongst each other. So when you're trying to say somebody exclusively stole, and I'm not saying you saying that, but when, you know, your youngsters say that people plagiarize, that's like what we call like a thumbnail. That's like, you know, clickbait, you know, and we trying to get past that. I never try to make nobody believe in the Most High. But what I do fight against is bad methodology and just making erroneous statements that you can't prove.
You know,
yeah, man, we got to get past. Y'all got to get past teaching people just to say the abstract.
Let me just return to Ben. Let me return to Ben for example. Okay, so my problem is you put in characters that we can't prove. Now, who we can prove is Hezekiah, right? In that period, right? We cannot prove Solomon, right? So just mentioning that is just it doesn't help.
No,
so Ben,
it was the tradition Josephus heard. That's why he wrote it.
Right, but he wasn't there. Yeah, right. So he heard the tradition, right? But the tradition doesn't help, right? So then we go into, so this particular source is a source of examples of writing from the 12th century BC onward, right? So when we start at this time, right, I'm going to be bordering on not respectful, but I have to do this, right? When we look at the specimens that we have in the 10th century, right, what we will look for is anything that deals with, right, with anything that deals with the Bible, right?
Three Sufis in the building. Three Sufis in the building.
We don't have,
peace.
what we don't have is we may have fragments that you could say connect to the Bible, but not just fragments, but not make the Bible, right? So you have harvest, you have like this particular the Gather calendar, right? I would expect in the 10th century to 10th to 9th century, what I would expect is to see biblical passages. No, I just see harvest. So I can respect that from these people, right, as they are making their way through history, right? I can respect that. So then we go into the servant of Jeroboam, first half of the 8th century, right? Okay, I am looking at all of this for biblical stuff. I don't see it. Then we have what Ankh showed us many years ago, the Pithos A of Kuntulit, right? Ankh was one of the first people that actually showed Yahweh and Asherah, right?
Yeah, Kuntulit El Edrud inscription, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so then we have, watch this. So we have, say, Shiwa, the king, say to Yah, right? And Yahweh, and I bless you on behalf of Yahweh of Sumerian and his Asherah. Now, when is Proverbs supposed to be happening? When biblical, I can look it up, but you tell me, what biblical time frame is Proverbs supposed to be written?
It depends on how you want to interpret the text. You have the documentary hypothesis. You have the supplementary hypothesis. We are just not certain about when these texts are being written. And
Right, I accept that, Ben.
And the textual or the textual material that they are being influenced by, or the writers or the redactors. That's why Dr. Joshua Bowens often say, "What redactors?" Because although we know that there were editors to the text, we can't say who they were.
Okay.
We don't know who they were. We don't know what they believed. We can assume based on the text, but we don't know. All I'm saying is I don't know.
Okay, I got it. So there's a lot of don't knows. I got that. Well, what we do know is the actual archaeology. And then when we scraping through the actual archaeology of this chicken scratch, right? And I'm saying this because it could be Canaanite, right? To a point where we actually see that is in fact Hebrew, right? For it to be Hebrew, okay. So there's a combination of El and then there's Yahweh. When it comes to the Bible, you're looking more for when Yahweh is firm. Agree or disagree? Otherwise, it's El, and El is Canaanite.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Because I don't think the text was written uniformly.
Okay, great.
It depends. I think it depends on the cultural context as well in the time period, because you have people who were henotheistic, polytheistic, still traditionally Israelite, and then you have Judites, post-exilic, pre-exilic. And then you have in Elafatim, the Egyptian garrison, the Judite garrison that was stationed there by the Assyrians. Everybody, these Judites are believing, these Israelites are believing all different things.
Got it.
Depending on the time period you're talking about.
Okay, so paleo writing from Siloam Canal, Jerusalem, second half, 8th century. Well, I would expect in this particular period that it's firmly in the Jerusalem 8th century BC that Yahweh, that the Bible is firm, right? This is not. I don't think this is not. This is slightly before Hezekiah, right?
I don't think the Bible is firm.
Right. Okay. Neither do I. So when we're reading this text, then what we do is find out. They're doing some type of construction or something like this, but I don't see no big Yahweh anything. But when I get to the seal of sin, 8th century BC, right? Now I have Egyptian influence. So now we start talking about transmission. Yes. So now I see a very acute Egyptian influence in the seal of sin, 8th century. I can see the seal of Zach, 8th century, a very acutely ancient Egyptian motives and iconography. And then, right? But I'm waiting for the Bible.
But the Bible speaks to that as well.
The Bible don't speak to
even in early Hamitic exchange or habitation. Yeah. They've always been, as even speaking as far as war, they've been allies. The Shemites actually were allies against the Egyptians with Nubia. So, it's always been a close relationship with
vassal relationship.
Shemites and Cushites.
It ain't a close relationship, it's a goddamn vassal relationship. You are paying the
no, that's Egyptian. I'm speaking of Nubian. But yeah, go ahead. They definitely were vassals with the Egyptians. Definitely.
Wait, at this
they relied upon the Egyptians to save them from. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know. So worse than that, the Nubians at this time period, right? You have the Nubian kings. The Nubians can take over Egypt, right? They have what you call a double kingdom, and so the influence is Egypto-Nubian. Or in this case, Nubian Egypto, because they actually take over. And
speaking of the 18th dynasty, right?
No, sir, I'm over here in the 8th century, sir. Please do not interrupt, right? So please. So a distinctive Egyptian iconography, right? With some elements of a people that doesn't seem to have a scribal school because they're not writing anything largely. Right.
Well, you got to understand, we really ain't start writing until we made the kingdom of Israel. That's the only reason why people establish writing. So
this is the time period of the kingdom of Israel.
Right. So we
stop interrupting.
So we definitely see evidence of Paleo Hebrew before 1000 BC. We're not going to see extensive writing, but we do have archaeological evidence with
archaeological evidence, sir.
Okay, so why would you? What are you speaking against it for? Like that's not bolstering your position, unless you're doing you're pinpointing something. You're being like you're making a loaded presentation. Like when you're speaking to people who really have the information,
you don't have no information.
And that's what Ankh is telling the conscious community. Y'all got to get past the surface level methodology.
Wait a minute, yo, y'all ain't get the street Sufi talk yet, yo?
No. So let me just.
I'm just listening. I'm just listening to him talk about Iron Age people. Iron Age people.
I'm just listening.
We do have the letter of from Arad, the end of the 7th century BC.
Okay, man.
So we're getting closer.
So I'm just saying. I mean, the Hebrews are Iron Age people. I mean, I get what they point when the earlier point I've been off and on when they was talking about they were Canaanites. No, I'm saying when they was talking they were Canaanites. You know, they are the same.
What Regie doing, man?
They're the same type.
Reggie quits.
Right, and yes, I'm just letting people know. Listen, this is the consensus. We don't gotta keep arguing this shit. They are Canaanites. They are West Semitic peoples.
Yeah, West Asians. You're Asian.
I'm with the artifacts that we actually have.
I didn't know you in that motherfucker fucking it up.
With the evidence that we have, I guess I stopped there and saying. With the evidence
that we have, over and let that man run rapid, yo. They gonna make. All right. I'm with some pushback. I know Regie went in there and grabbed something.
Yeah, you're right. So when I'm listen, I could talk to Ben, right?
So you ain't let him do it, did you, yo? Come on, yo.
You know, man, spinning pages for 10 minutes got me dizzy. You're a professional hijacker, man. I started having seasons and shit, man.
Man, I was wondering, is it only me?
Oh, my whole point is you got evidence of Proverbs or anything past chicken scratch, please show it.
We don't, Reggie. That's what I was trying to get you to understand. We don't. We just don't have enough.
Okay, thank you. It's Gideon.
Archaeological data. We don't got textual data. We just don't have enough evidence to make conclusions.
I didn't know that you're an Israelite.
Yes, sir. No. I'm Real Black Atheist, bro. Well, I can't say that no more. I'm not abandoned the shit. So I
ain't abandoned it. I ain't abandoned that. You're right here with me, bro.
All right, right on.
I'm a Real Black Atheist.
I appreciate the scholarship. I love ancient Near East history. I think I could.
You say I abandoned it.
No, I just want people to move on from this shit.
Okay, I'm done. I'm really done. Thank you for your time. You are how can I say you are structured, right? You're honest, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't have a problem, and I know that there's back and forth, and there's much more literature.
Yes, debate. It's always debate, man. Yes, indeed.
Right, but to people that I could talk to.
Big up to the barbarians is in the damn chat, man.
With Gideon with no evidence whatsoever.
Big up to the barbarians, yo. They special, yo. They in the chat.
With Gideon with no evidence whatsoever. Doesn't even know what he's looking at.
Oh yeah, Gideon a believer, yo. You can't talk to him the same way.
All right,
he thinks from the house of you like the house of Yara, the house of
Gideon's a real black Israelite. Y'all tripping.
But see, this is what crazy. Like y'all be the ones that want to drag people into the BC era, into the Iron Age. I stick with more pertinent evidence or information as far as how it relates to us being in West Africa right before the slave trade. So that's what I be speaking on, but y'all be ducking from that. I straight up ran Rob Bourne and all them. Like, so now they doing American civil rights history. They used to be in West Africa, but when they were scared to face the evidence, they became civil rights activists and, but I'm just about the information, man.
Stop it, bro. Like, you get a pass around here because you just nice.
I like my own pass, man.
Stop the nonsense. They know West African Stop the bullshit. Not around here. No damn black Hebrew Israelite. Y'all sound stupid. Every time I count on y'all shoes. Listen. It's 3 o'clock and my special is done.
Hey, Gideon, let me ask you a question, yo.
What's up?
How the hell did an Israelite get all the way in motherfucking New Orleans?
No, that's crazy, right?
Hell of a motherfucking trip, yo.
That's a story.
Why would a motherfucking New Orleans, nigga?
That's a story.
Yeah, man.
Y'all gotta be kidding me. That's some fun. I'm fucking with you though, yo. That's wow. So you saying when you wake up every night, yo, you really think that your ancestors was fighting against the Phoenicians, yo? You really think that?
To be truthful,
being honest, I'm just trying to figure this out.
I could have been part of the Phoenicians that were fighting the Israelites. I could have been. I could see. You got to understand, like,
a mix of genetics in that region.
When I'm speaking of an Israelite bloodline, that's a very old bloodline. So
Israelite bloodline.
Israelite.
What is that?
Teach me.
If I step out it, like, that's why when I hear people say that, I believe I'm an Egyptian, or because you have those people that migrated into West Africa, all those cultures.
Are you a red nose from the Gator line? If you low down Georgia, you have the Gator line, and then up south you have the blue line. Because if you are you a dog? Are you a goddamn dog? You talking about?
Let him explain his thing.
I want to know which dog he is. I want to know which specific dog he is off of which breeder, because he's talking about a bloodline. You're a damn dog.
Go ahead, Goldie.
I think that a lot of people believe like the Sahara Jews that was in the Sahara at one time, or when they hear terms like West Africa, like when like the Sephardics was living in Morocco, which is Northwest Africa, or the Ladino Jews who played a role during the Portuguese and the Mindi groups, a lot of them mixed into them, but these were not black people, none of them, not even the Sahara Jews. If you look up the Sahara Jews of the Sahara, they're not, none of these people are classified or black people. So when you hear terms like West Africa, we tend to believe that it's talking about southwestern portions of Africa, not just the whole. You see, we look at West Africa like it's talking about, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Mali, the deep interior portions of where we come from, the Biafra regions. And it's not talking about that because they never made it there. Now, if you're talking about Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, some parts of Elephantine, some parts of Mali. Yeah. Now, if you're talking about now Hannibal, which means one glorious of Baal, or one worthy of Baal, Hannibal was a Phoenician. Those were the Phoenicians. They were in North Africa, in Tunis or Tunisia. So all those people, and they were not black. They were all Palestinian-looking people. Let's just give these people credit for what they are. Palestinian-looking people.
Facts, it goes. Yes.
From inception.
Well, see, that's why I would differ at, because I believe that now I'm at to take it a set up. Now I'm at to just take it straight up set up, because now you're just being like ignorant. Like you say you're a scientist, man. Now you're being ignorant. What you do? Clean beakers? That's all you do? Like I'm trying to see, like if you just like,
who is being
keep it simple, man, because the conversation's gonna devolve, man.
Yeah, man, you want to get ignorant, man. I guess he like people to talk to him stupid.
Using ignorant terminology, keep talking about a bloodline as if you're a dog. You're a breeder.
Everybody got right
dogs. What type of bloodline you talking about?
Oh wow!
Go ahead, get in.
Yes, sir.
Talking about a bloodline.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I believe that all those people, the Carthaginians, Phoenicians, the ancient Egyptians, Israelites, all those are what I would say we would call sub-Saharan black people. And what Ngozi is talking about, what Ngozi is talking about as far as like the Sephardic Jews, those people in their origin are what we would call black people. I don't relate the bulk of. I don't.
Let's get that
straight. And then you gotta define
right.
Define it.
Right, and I know that's I'm just speaking like black. I mean, we can get into that, but I'm just giving you my. So to Ngozi,
he said
Sephardic, when you said the Ladino, there's a book called The History of Venezuela, written in 1527, speaking of the history. There was a Ladino named Miguel Barra. He was a Ladino. He was a black. He was quote unquote black. He was a black Israelite, black Jew, and he actually established a kingdom in Venezuela for a short period of time. This was a black Ladino, a black Jew. So when we look at the origin, when we look at the origin, the written documents, we can find that it discloses that those Sephardic people were black people.
So let me respond to you right quick. So I want to get that. I want to correct myself on something. So the Latinos were admixed because they mixed with indigenous Mandinka people or Mandingos. When you read the literature, I know about the book that you that you're referencing. The Latinos, some of them were black because they mixed with the Mandingo people of northern Mali at the time. Just like you have some Jews that integrate inside of some black populations, but they didn't start out that way. Nor did the Phoenicians, nor did that's just one group of people. Now, if you look at the Sahara Jews that live in the Sahara, they're not black people. So if you're talking about the Latinos, which they did mix with Mandingos, you see that in the literature. It talks about them, but that was not what they started out as. The Jews they look Palestinian-like. Yeah. And if you look on PCAs, right? When they look at certain ancient samples, the closest population to ancient Jews today, if we use as a proxy, will be the Samaritans or Christian Palestinians.
Because they stayed in the land.
That's it. They stayed in the land. That's it. And if you see, so even with ancient Egyptians, you don't have to be a sub-Saharan African to be an African. Egyptians are 100% African, but they were not sub-Saharan Africans. They were North Africans. And if you're going back from the Old Kingdom sample, it matches up with Neolithic North Africans, and Neolithic North Africans is a merge between pre-Neolithic and admixed already Ibero-Mauritian type groups. So that matches up with Epipaleolithic Libertines or Neolithic Libertines already. They were already close to that.
He's smoking, boy.
Right. So that paradigm I'm not even a part of, and goes it because you're gonna run that down like a grocery list. This is what I'm saying.
What?
So when
what?
Right, yeah, he go to run it. It's like, I'm not. No, we're not even about to do that.
Gideon say, hold on, man, I'm just reading the Bible.
Oh, nah. Yeah, but nah. So when I'm saying that, and we can have the discussion about sub-Saharan black, because that is that's a misnomer, because what we describe as sub-Saharan black people, they were all over the known world. So when I'm saying sub-Saharan black, I'm ascribing to a phenotype. So when I say the Sephardic Jews were black in Spain, when I'm starting off is a foundational base, and that foundational base starts as early as the 1st century, and as far as early as the writings of Tacitus, when
Ladies and gentlemen, that was
I go by the historical document, man. I'm going by historical documents, man. I'm a fall back, man. I'm going by historical documents, man.
That bloodline breathing thing got you sued up.
We got
y'all scared of the information, man.
Yeah, say this to you, King. Hey, brother, you have every right to have your belief, brother. But I want to say this. In the early 1800s and late 1700s or early 1900s, you can even find Mediterranean Europeans in certain portions of the world amongst blondes or whiter skinned Europeans. They have classified them as Negro. You can see literature as that. So we have so we have to be very cautious when we read old literature and it's describing people as dark or Negro. You got to be very cautious, because Negro don't only belong to the sub-Saharan Black African in a specific time. Right, so we read
the Spaniard. Well, go ahead.
Right, so you can have a man that looks something like a Puerto Rican, right? Or I'm not even going to say them, just a man from Spain. Olive skin, dark hair, dark eyes, and in some literature they will be classified as Negro in a specific time. It wasn't just a word for Black sub-Saharan Africans. So when you hear terms in some of these old books about the Jews, you will find a term where they call them Negro. they're not really, just because we see that, I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying when some of us see that, we think it's talking about a man with congoid features, prognathism, rectilinear orbits around a socket, specific avalors.
It depends on what time you're talking about. If you're talking about in the 1800s, that's late. Yeah, you have a lot of, and by that time, you have a lot of admixture in the European population. So they are going to be called swarthy from that original African that came into them. But in earlier writings, when you see people with the last name Negro, or they're called Negroes, that's based on them being so-called sub-Saharan African. The only reason people are called swarthy is because they have African admixture. That's according to the historical record.
Dark hair and dark eyes or dark features would have been classified as.
What you talking about? What you talking about?
Yeah, you gotta stop it, yo. You setting off all kinds of.
I can share my screen if you want to, brother.
Yeah, get in. You didn't over.
Yeah, now when we read people like Strabo saying that the Israelites come from the stock of the Egyptians, and when we don't fall for the okie doke and think that the Egyptians are some type of Mediterranean olive skinned green people, and you know that they were what we call sub-Saharan Negroes in their origin, then you can logically conclude that the Israelites are what we call black people.
Hold on, pause.
When I say Israelite, then I use the term Israelite.
Hey, I'm driving, right? But if you get a chance, I want you to look up Strabo's description of Egyptians, because Strabo didn't say it the way, like, I don't know how you interpret it.
He lists 5 nations, and all those 5 nations in their origin are what we would call black people.
No, but listen though, I want
all 5 of them. I know the source. I know what you're talking about.
Right, but he described the Egyptians as being black the way we think they're saying it, right? Like, I want the audience to look it up so they can understand what Strabo was saying when you describe the Egyptians, right? You also have old literature when they said the Egyptians in the north look like the people in India, and the people in the south look Ethiops or whatever. So we have
the people in India looked like Ethiopians.
Northern Indians. It was a distinction in a lot of that literature. It was a distinction. The Egyptians were not, the Egyptians could, like you see today, the people in Egypt today that ranges from dark to light still look similar to their ancestors, especially the Sadis or the Copts or the Fehelahim. Those people still look similar to their ancestors.
All those are new names you're talking about, Ngozi. The original, the first ruling dynasties of Egypt are what we call niggas, Negro people, point blank period. I don't know what the DNA, I don't know what you think the DNA telling you, bro, or what, you know, what
we practice to deceive.
Some migrations is saying to you, but the architecture, the literature, all that speaks to them being coming from black people, period.
And actually,
you're not gonna lose me with no DNA, genetics, and all that, because y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Egyptians were never identified as Negroes because you have the Hermetic hypothesis.
Correct.
It separates them from Negroes. Negroes is a specific group of sub-Saharan African. They are talking about sub-Saharan, the barbarians and the primitive savages that they're talking about. They're talking about us, our ancestors. They're not talking about
if those people come from an earlier stock.
Right? When the Arab come into Egypt in 641 AD, he describes Egypt as Misr, and he calls Sudan Bilal el-Sudan, the land of the black. There's a difference between Misr and the people in Sudan that he's seen. When he comes into Sudan, he's called in the land of blacks, Bilal el-Sudan, the land of blacks. That's all of the Sahel belt in sub-Saharan Africa at one time. Egypt was classified as Misr. That's different. So evidently there's a difference in what these Arabs are seeing when they get there. Now,
they classify them different.
Egypt from antiquity separated themselves from this quote-unquote Sudan.
So let me just give you an example, brother. So if I take you to Socotra.
Yeah, my phone died. My phone died. Shalom, man.
Hey, brother. So if we look at the people in Socotra, Yemen.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice.
I'm sorry, if we go.
Break. We cut through the lies.
Hey, man, make sure y'all like and subscribe, man, and continue to support the channel, man. Man, hit the Cash App, man. Join the channel, man. Y'all know what it is, man. And with that, man, we out. I'm your host, Bobby Banger, the God Killer.